Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Ryan and this is my channel Car Therapy. Today I have a 2023 X5M Competition. This is a beautiful car. If you've been following my channel, you know I have a 2022 X6 40i. I've actually driven the 50i, but I have never driven an X5 or an X6M. This is the funnest SUV I've ever driven in my entire life. So we're gonna do a walk around, we'll go to the interior, and then we'll also do some revs. And I'll take you for a quick drive so you can just hear how incredible this car sounds on the road. So why don't we start on the front end? Because compared to the X6, or even the X5, this thing just looks mean. You know, like the whole design of the front, I love it because it's not just aggressive, but it's functional. You know, these aren't blocked out vents. They actually have a purpose to them. And also the way this bumper creases down and comes into here, it just looks so mean and aggressive. These are the same BMW laser lights that are on my X6. But the M cars, somebody asked me on my channel, does the M cars actually have the iconic glow kidney grille? No, these are completely different grills and they're designed to, you know, obviously look more aggressive, but they also have that open airflow that comes through, which the X6 and X5s do as well, but it opens and closes. So you don't get the glow, but I actually prefer this. I think it looks better. And then down, just all these honeycomb grills look good. I know the new LCI model looks different, but this one to me looks absolutely perfect. I think the thing that I love the most about this car, and I'll get into this and stay to the end of the video, because when you hear this car driving on the road, the exhaust, the feeling of it is incredible. The thing I really love about this car is it's kind of a sleeper. Like, it is aggressive on the front, but it's not a lot different looking than the normal X5. You know, you don't have any wide body flares or anything like that, but you're paying for the suspension, the performance, the wheels, the engine obviously, and then there's some functional and cosmetic designs in the front and the rear bumper, which I'll take you to in just a second. But why don't we jump around to the side of the car and we'll talk about the front wheels, the rear wheels, and get the side profile as well. So you may have an X5 or maybe an X5 M50 or the new M60 coming out. There's definitely some differences than the regular X5, but they're kind of subtle in my opinion because the overall look of the car is very similar. So we'll start with the front. These are 21-inch wheels and they're 295s 35 series in the front. Big, big, big cross-drilled rotors. Obviously the M brake caliber painted in red with the mineral white looks really, really good. And then these are bicolor wheels. The new LCI 2024, you can get all black, which I personally think looks better, but the design of these wheels are stunning, especially with the staggered, because you have more of a concave in the rear than the front. And speaking of the rears, these are 22s and they're 315/30 series, so a pretty aggressive tire in the back. And as I said, the rear wheels have such a nice offset, like they really pop, especially with this design, which has a more of an aggressive wheel, in my opinion. And then we come up here, we have the M wing mirror. These aren't carbon, but you can get carbon covers. And the black, anything black, as well as this side fender. You have this grille with this X5M logo. The black on any white looks beautiful to me. And then just a classic X5 line that runs up here. And you know, if you've heard me talk about the X6, I say you really lose a lot of trunk space, and especially with me, I have a child, and so don't mind the birds. It's springtime, there's ducks and there's birds, they're all mating up here. But you lose a lot of trunk space, not so much headroom, but you don't have as much capacity to carry things in the back, but it's still super great with the X6. And then you have, I believe these fender flares, I could be wrong, are just a tad bit wider than the regular X5. But there's no like M3 or M4 sort of body flare that the X5 or M6 has. It's a lot more of a, you know, add-on cosmetic kind of pieces, especially for the rear bumper. So why don't we go around to the back of the car and I'll show you this exhaust, which is insane. This has got to be one of my personal favorite parts of the car. As we get into to this rear diffuser and the exhaust. So we'll start off at the top. This wing spoiler is much bigger than a regular X5, which I think it looks fan-freaking-tastic. It's nice to have the rear window wiper. The X6 doesn't have one, and sometimes I find my window, I can't see out of the back as well as I could, so that's very handy. It comes on every X5, obviously. I know they changed the tail lights for the LCI, so these are the older ones, but check this out. This is what I mean by the X5 being different on the M. It has, same as the front bumper, it kind of has that crease that comes down and folds in. This is all a little bit wider and tubbed out. Gives it a nice look from the rear end. But my favorite part is this rear diffuser and these quad exhaust tips, which once you hear me fire this up and we'll do some revs, sounds incredible. Let's go ahead and pop the trunk just so you can see how much space is in this car. Obviously every X5 is like this, but you know, me owning an X6, I find this tailgate very, very handy compared to the X6, and the trunk space is dramatically bigger in my opinion. Yeah, so you can see there's quite a bit of room in the trunk itself. And then underneath here, you don't get a spare tire. You do get some tools, but that's about it. Seats do split, fold down, so if you do things like skiing or snowboarding, or you need more storage, more space, you could always fold the seats down. X6 is the same, X5 is the same. What I also like is that, yes, I could push this button and it closes both hatches, or if I wanted, and I'm sure you could change this as a setting, what I like is I can just push this one and it closes that one, which is really, really handy. So let's jump into the interior. Before we jump into the cabin, I had to show you this angle. So we got the X5M Competition black badge, contrasting with the mineral white paint. And I don't even need to explain how good this looks from this side. Just take it in, and then we'll jump inside the cabin and I'll show you how beautiful the interior of this X5M Competition truly is. All right, guys, let's jump in. First off, I gotta say, these bolsters on the side of the seats are a lot higher than a regular X6. I'm sure an X5 too. So it's a little trickier to get in and out, but nothing like an M4 with the carbon bucket seats. Soft closed doors. Don't even need to slam them. All right, well, let's talk about these seats first. Fully adjustable. The bolsters come in. I mean, I'm a pretty skinny guy. Like, I'm 5'10", 155, 60 pounds, and they snug me so tight. But if you're bigger than that, they expand out nice and wide. And the X5M light up badge on the back of the headrests. These things look like king cobras to me. They fit the car so well. It's like top of the food chain is what this car, this SUV is. Steering wheel, incredible. M1, M2 shifters, or sorry, I should say M1, M2 buttons, paddle shifters in the rear. Typical steering wheel that is actually on the X6 as well. I really love this shift knob. I prefer it more than the crystal gear select that we have. And I love the red start-stop engine button. And then, of course, with any M car, like I had a 2018 M4. Here in Canada, it's called the Ultimate Package. So it's just fully loaded competition, except it didn't have carbon ceramic brakes, but everything else it had. This car, believe it or not, drives exactly like my old M4. And it's an SUV. It's way heavier, it's way higher, it's bizarre. It's so fun to drive this car. So you have the M options that you can change within the nav, which is nice. Which is nice that you can change the suspension and the steering and the exhaust, and it's fully customizable with everything. Alcantara up here. It's really nice to have the leather dash as well, and the carbon fiber accents all across the trim and down here. And then we also have an X5M Competition logo that is on top of the carbon fiber cover. These side panels are nice. They're different than a typical X5 or an X6. And the lighting is a little bit different in here than my car as well. But the vibe of it is very similar because it is essentially the same car. It just feels a bit more aggressive and a bit more sporty than my car. But also I know with the 2024 LCI, you're getting the full one screen, plus, you know, a whole different setup. They've redesigned a bunch of things. So I'm really excited to see what the X5 and X6M looks like from there. But like, honestly, this interior, when you get into it, it is so nice. These seats, in my opinion, make the car. They're just made for people that want to drive, you know? So beautiful car. We'll hop in the back. I'll show you a little bit of the headroom, and then we'll go ahead and fire this beast up. All right, let's get my jacket out of the way. So if you own an X5, you probably know lots of room, lots of headroom, full open sunroof, moonroof, you know, typical cup holders and stuff like that in here. So, you know, it's a little bit different. You have the M seat belts. I had these in my M4. If I were to close this door, one thing that is nice, you have what I call the King Cobras back here, kind of ready to pounce. And you don't get the USB ports and stuff like that. So if you're someone that would use that, or your passengers would use that, that's kind of a bum. But the headroom is great, lots of trunk space, and I've been, you know, sitting back here, and it's super comfortable. Of course, I've always said this. You know, I've ridden in Aston Martins and stuff like that, and the back seats are a lot more bucket. I wish BMW for their M cars would make more of a bucket type back seat for the rear passengers, but this is still super comfy. And I mean, the amazing thing about a car like this is you have insane performance and the ability to bring lots of passengers with you and your family. So it's a nice mix of both. I will say, and we'll get into this car is a lot stiffer than the 40i and the 50i, and I'm assuming the 60i too, but I personally like the feel of that. So why don't we go ahead and start this SUV up so you can listen to the engine, and we'll do some revs. All right, guys, so here we have the BMW M Power engine, and what's nice is you got these braces, not as fancy because they're not carbon fiber, but they do the purpose. Run along here, they run along the upper side here, and the engine cover is really pretty too. I mean, at the end of the day, this is why you're paying the money for this car. The suspension, the wheels, the performance, how you feel when you're driving the car. Otherwise, you would, you know, get an M50 or M60 or a 40i. This is not a car you get if you care about fuel economy. This is why you're buying this car. Wow, sun is coming out just as we're going for a drive, so this is perfect. Best part of this car, in addition to the looks and the sound, is throwing it into drive and actually driving it. It's cool if a car looks good, but if it doesn't feel good to drive, what's the point? You know how certain cars you just feel like really connected to them, like it moves your soul? That's how the M4 felt for me, and that's how the X5M Competition feels to me. You know, I always thought, for the price, is it really worth it? You know, why do you need an SUV with 600 horsepower? In my opinion, it's worth every penny. I don't know, it just feels good. Like, it makes me happy to drive this car. I love the stiff suspension, the sound of the exhaust. Obviously, you get some noise coming through the speakers as well, which you can turn off. But it's the experience of driving this car that really moves me and would absolutely drive me to get one of these. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Again, my name's Ryan. This is my channel, Car Therapy. This is such a fun SUV to drive. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Maybe like this video, drop me a comment on your thoughts on the X5M. I'll see you on the next one, you guys. Thanks again.